Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And I did a previous story on the controversy with our newly elected St. Louis City Sheriff. He actually took office in January. He won the election late last year in 2024, beating the incumbent Vernon Betts, who had been the St. Louis City Sheriff for a number of years. And when Alfred Montgomery, the new sheriff, won the election, there was all kind of controversy and back and forth that was going on between the ex-sheriff that was leaving, Vernon Betts, and then the newly elected sheriff, Alfred Montgomery. They were not getting along from the jump street. So in a sense, the way things should go, the person that's lost their position should pass the baton to the newly elected sheriff. And there was a fumble there. Vernon Betts did not like Alfred Montgomery, and Alfred Montgomery did not like Vernon Betts. And subsequently, so Alfred Montgomery did not start off on the right foot, in my personal opinion. And we need to have a sound city hall, along with our sheriff department, our Department of Corrections, our police force, our public safety, our fire department. And this situation with Alfred Montgomery, the new sheriff, sounds very similar to what was going on with our previous St. Louis City prosecuting circuit attorney, Kim Gardner. That was a debacle and stayed in the news. And then at the time, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey went after attorney Kim Gardner and had her resign, or she was removed from her post as a St. Louis Circuit Attorney. That was unfortunate, especially as people like to talk about on social media, the black-white version of things, identity politics, DEI, those things of that nature. And now you have a situation where, as I said in a previous video, Alfred Montgomery has had allegations against him of overspending, having one of the sheriffs roll dice to see if he could keep his job. And part of the overspending had to deal with golf carts, new uniforms, the detainment or the arrest of the past commissioner, the acting commissioner of the city jail, Tammy Ross. And that is very important because that plays a big part in this new indictment against Alfred Montgomery. He even had issues or allegations that he was having sheriffs pick his kids up, taking them to school, to and from school, which is not a part of their jobs. So there's been a number of issues with the start of Alfred Montgomery. And in today's politics, with President Trump and the emotions that are garnered behind his administration, there are a lot of eyeballs on governmental officials, whether they're city, state, or federal. And you got to do the right thing. And the feds are busy indicting people each and every day. And also, St. Louis has had a little issue with racial division in the past. In the city of St. Louis, you had the Delmar divide. For those from St. Louis that knows about that, Delmar North is black, Delmar South would be white. They're trying to merge that situation. But also you have a spatial segregationist kind of movement here in St. Louis, where St. Louis is kind of made up of three parts: St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and then St. Charles County. So you have many people that live in St. Charles County that don't come across Highway 270. You have many people that live in West County, whether it's Ladue, Chesterfield, Baldwin, those areas, Clayton even, that won't come across Highway 170 going east, and or Skinker that runs north and south. You have a lot of people that won't go east of that. There's been all kinds of issues and rumor mills about the city is dangerous. I know we're understaffed with police officers. We need at least 300 police officers on the street. We're understaffed with correctional officers in our city's jails, and we're understaffed with sheriffs. There's also been a big issue with our city jail that since 2020, there have been at least 20 individuals that have died, some under auspicious and mysterious circumstances. If you do the math, that's 4 inmates per year over the last 5 years that have died in the custody of our city jail. And the sheriff's department plays a big part in that. So we need our sheriff's department to be tight. They need more sheriffs. So that money in their budget should be spent on getting more sheriffs as opposed to overpriced golf carts, overpriced uniforms, and some of the things that Alfred Montgomery has been alleged to have done. And even his arrogance, it appears, has become an issue. But as a politician, as a governmental worker and employee, he has brought the attention to the Missouri Attorney General's office, again with Andrew Bailey. And mind you, Andrew Bailey also has indicted the St. Louis County Executive, which is kind of the mayor of St. Louis County, into Dr. Sam Page, based on a Proposition B Proposition B proposal, and something to do with flyers. He has been indicted also. And now Alfred Montgomery has been indicted. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey has gone after Alfred Montgomery. So he went after Kim Gardner, the St. Louis City Circuit Attorney in the past. He's coming after Dr. Sam Page, St. Louis County Exec, and now Alfred Montgomery. The St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery is in a bit of a quandary. And this is a federal indictment, and it does not look good. So, and as you all know, Andrew Bailey, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, has decided to is leaving Missouri and has decided to join Trump's administration as the co-deputy director of the FBI. But that's not until late September. So up until then, Sheriff Alfred Montgomery is on Attorney General Andrew Bailey's radar, and Alfred Montgomery has been caught in a web, so to speak, a criminal web. So let's get into what is taking place here in St. Louis for those who are outside of St. Louis that are listening to my channel. St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery has been indicted on federal deprivation of rights charge. Alfred Montgomery, the sheriff of the city of St. Louis, has been indicted on a federal misdemeanor charge of deprivation of rights under the color of law, stemming from his involvement in an altercation with a former St. Louis Corrections Commissioner who was handcuffed by sheriff's deputies. Now, this was all caught on video. Montgomery appeared in court and entered a plea of not guilty and was released on his own recognizance. If convicted, he could face up to 1 year in prison and a fine up to $1,000. And for those who don't know, many times you can kind of tell whether it's a state, let alone a federal charge, on how bad they really want you, based on what the charge is, what is your bond or your bail, and of course, what your sentence would be. This is a misdemeanor, so it's not like he could get 20 years, but it's still an issue. And if he is convicted, of course, he would be removed. And also, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey wants him to resign his post as the St. Louis sheriff, and he is saying, and Alfred Montgomery is saying he's not going to do that. In February, Montgomery sought act. This is what the issue is about. In February, Sheriff Montgomery sought access to the City Justice Center to interview a detainee who claimed they had been a victim of essay assault at the jail. A sheriff's deputy was later charged with the Essex crime. According to the indictment, unsealed, Sheriff Montgomery is accused of depriving Tammy Ross, the then acting commissioner of the City Justice Center, of the right secured and protected by the Constitution and laws of the United States to be free from unreasonable seizure, which includes the right to be free from unlawful detention by a person acting under the color of law. When he directed and participated, talking about Sheriff Montgomery, in her restraint and detention. The indictment notes that the sheriff's office is not charged with enforcing and is not legally allowed to enforce criminal laws of the state of Missouri and the city of St. Louis or anywhere else in the state of Missouri, besides with limited exceptions. Surveillance footage obtained by the Missouri Attorney General's office shows deputies handcuffing Tammy Ross, who has filed a federal lawsuit claiming false arrest and imprisonment. The jail incident is included in the separate legal action filed by the Attorney General's office seeking Montgomery's removal from office under quo warranto proceedings. The parties in that matter are due in court, and Sheriff Montgomery has a trial date in November. So there's all kinds of things that's going on under the umbrella of City Hall. We had a terrible tornado on May 16th, and it sounds like we have a terrible tornado that's going on and devastating our sheriff's department. If these allegations are true, then he needs to resign, and he needs to take this very serious, because the federal government will arrest and put him in jail.